Hey, this is Cameron, and welcome to the practice log. Whoa! Oh man, I just gotta pick you up sometimes. Well, what am I doing here talking to you? Let's go ahead and sit down, and I'll tell you about some stuff that's been going on. So, let's see you there. I'll see you there. Hey, whoa. Welcome to the couch. I wonder how bad of a day I have to have for me to just not say, hey, this is Cameron, welcome to the practice log. I don't know, I guess we'll see. I'll have a really bad day at some point, I'm sure. I mean, it's bound to happen. I feel I've been on such an emotional and mental journey since starting this thing, and if you go back to some of the old logs, a lot of those were pretty depressed. I was kind of lost in life. I didn't exactly know what I was practicing for, nor did I even think or know that I could achieve really much of anything. And in a lot of ways, I felt kind of broken when it came to my guitar playing, because I've been playing guitar for a long time. I just felt like I should be better than I was. I'm just really reaching a stride with my playing. I feel like I'm making kind of leaps and bounds in a lot of these pieces I've been working on for so long. And by the way, I got through an audition, and I have another one tomorrow, actually. And I know if you're paying attention, you know that it's been a week or so since I've done that audition, and I haven't talked about it, so it's oh, I wonder how it went. Which I am going to talk about it. Which is a little uncomfortable now because the professor actually reached out and told me that he checked out my YouTube channel and watched the Brandon Aker guitar lesson. I'm not going to get too specific or anything. I'm just going to talk about my feelings during the audition. Which, yeah, what was I even talking about before? I just feel like I've made a lot of progress in everything. From how I was at the beginning of starting this versus all the practice I've put in, and then also all the performance experience that I've gotten, which isn't even much, but it's enough to get me to this point that I am now. Just to give you an idea, I live next to a music store, and I remember the first time I went into that music store to just buy strings, and I just tried out a $300 classical guitar, and I played through my Adagio and Fugue. It was legitimately nerve-rattling. I was so not used to performing that even just performing in a music store, I would get shaky and nervous. And now I bought strings the other day, and I always play my Fugue whenever I go in there, and it just felt like nothing. And people were watching too. It just didn't matter. Which that's a good and a bad thing. And I'll get into why. Why would that ever be a bad thing? I had the audition for one of the schools that I'm applying to, and mind you, it was online, but if you've ever performed online, you know that the anxiety is very real. You can't just dissociate and pretend you're just practicing as normal. When you know that there's attention on you, you're gonna get nervous, and that's just how it is. So it was online, there were two professors watching me, and leading up to it, I felt pretty much fine. I was a little antsy, I wanted to get it over with, but I felt fine, and I managed to stave off all the nerves. I didn't have any nerves really. Oh yeah, and by the way, I didn't do any of the heating stuff. I didn't have my hair dryer blowing my hands or anything like that. I wasn't even wearing the long underwear that I ordered. I just kind of showed up. I felt kind of warm. I was good. I was practicing. But man, right when I clicked on that meeting and then I saw them there, I felt this wave of just nervousness go over me, and I felt my hands get that nervous feeling, and it was just God dang it, I really thought I wasn't going to be nervous. Leading up, I performed for several people over Zoom, and I didn't feel nervous in those at all. So I thought it would just be that again. But then it happened, and I got pretty substantially nervous, and it pretty much just started off they were just hey, how's it going, all right, so you're gonna play these, and then they just mute, and they're just all right, take it away, and she's oh god, all right, no small talk or anything. And I went to play the first couple notes of my Fugue, and I could feel my hand. I was very concerned, am I actually even gonna be able to play this? And that feeling, by the way, I've had that before where I actually can't play the Fugue, when I'm super nervous, and it is so crushing when that happens, because it makes you feel you're broken, kind of. It's I've been working on this music, and I know it so well, and I just can't even play it. What's wrong with me? That's the feeling that it gives you, and I've had that feeling, and it's been very real before. So, that nervous energy washed over me, and what I did with it, before I played, I just sat for a few seconds and just sort of just breathe a little bit, and just actually feel it. It almost felt kind of a drug, an adrenaline shot or something. I just let it wash over me, and I just tried to enjoy that feeling. It was very interesting. It did really feel like a drug. And then I start playing, and then my attitude going into it was all right, well, let's just see if I can play the Fugue with this insane feeling. And I was thinking at that point, it's there's no way I can play feeling like this. And I just start going, and my hands are shaking, and the notes aren't coming out, and of course the music sounds kind of crappy to me. But then a minute into it, after that, the anxiety that I was feeling just suddenly turned into this calm alertness, and I became hyper aware of everything, the attention of the professors watching me. I became super aware of just every note that I was playing, and all the resolutions, and having the music flow into itself really nicely, and like every line I was just like thinking about in ways that I had never actually thought about it before. And throughout playing that fugue, and then by the time I got to the end of it, it was the most fun I'd ever had playing that fugue. It almost felt like if the fugue is like slaying a dragon, like it's some epic adventure, because that's kind of how the fugue feels. It's pretty epic and giant, and you just kind of attack it until it's dead. Every time I've played it for you on the show, and like all the practice I've done, it almost just felt like prep work, and then playing it for those professors for the audition, the reason why I'm learning it. It felt like doing it for real. Like, it felt like, okay, I actually killed the dragon now. All that other stuff, that was just pretending. It felt so much more meaningful that time. And that came from the nerves, like the adrenaline of the nerves and like just persevering through it. And out of any performance I've ever done, I've never had an experience like that where the nervousness actually flips into like this calm alertness where I'm just hyper aware of like everything. It seriously felt euphoric in the moment. It's like I moved on to the Mozart variations and then the Morel Sonatina, only the first movement, and I played for like 15 minutes, and by the end of it I was like I'm ready to do another 15. Like I was ready to just put on a recital. Like, it felt so good. Now, I'm not gonna say that I played like better than ever or anything like that, because I'm sure I didn't, but as far as like the quality of the playing, the only thing I really focused on was just conveying like the beauty of the music and like showing how everything flows together and showing my ideas of it. And in fact, like the idea of like messing up or anything like that never even crossed my mind, except for the first minute or so. There were no mess ups. It was just me just showing it off and just showing what I had, which, like, depending on how it went or not, or like how they felt about the performance, I have no idea. It might have sucked, but it felt really, really good. So who cares, right? Honestly, that audition could not have gone better. Even like days after, like I would just think about that feeling. That's like the performance rush that people talk about, where like the nervousness turns into like excited energy. My old professor used to talk about that, like this hyper alertness that you get when you like get into the groove, like playing in a recital and like having like all attention on you. And it really makes me think, like, I wonder how freaking insane it feels to play and like Carnegie Hall with like everybody just watching you and like paying attention to you, and you have undivided attention from like an entire hall of people, and you're just like whipping out your fugue. That must feel completely insane. Like, I don't know if any drug could like emulate that feeling, because it would be so insane, because it was already in my situation performing for these professors. It was insane, like the feeling with just their undivided attention. So it makes me really optimistic about like the idea of performing. It kind of makes me want to pursue like other performance opportunities, which, like, I don't know if it'll feel the same if they're performance opportunities like playing in a restaurant or something like that, because I think a part of it is the undivided attention. That's like the thrill. It's a rush having undivided attention while you're like playing something like that. But maybe in a restaurant it would work, like if you just play well enough and actually get everybody's attention. That's probably gratifying too. But regardless, it definitely makes me want to chase that. I have a feeling that I'm going to be somebody who probably really likes performing. And it also makes me look back on every performance I've ever done for you here. I've never felt that way before. And like, I felt nervous in front of the camera, but it almost makes me feel badly about like all the performances I've made you guys listen to. And going forward, I'm going to try really hard to give every performance I do here everything, because I look through some of these videos where I'm just like playing, and I am just like playing, like I'm not even like really getting into it. It's just like, what is this, like what kind of performer are you, you know? Put something into it, show off the music. I mean, all in all, I just learned a lot from auditioning, and I'm very happy with just how my body responded, because I mean, imagine how horrible it'd be if my body just like clammed up and I just like wasn't able to play and it just sucked. That'd be horrible to learn that. But no, like, I learned, like, it felt insane. Even just in a small little thing like that, a small audition, just 2 people watching me. And I have an audition tomorrow, so I'm really excited for that, just to like have another professor be forced to listen to me for 15 minutes. I think I enjoy it. I like that. Man, like, I've heard so many people say that that's like the dreadful part, but it's like, oh my god, it's freaking awesome. You just get to show like what you got. It's like, boom, here it is. I'm gonna play for you, and you just put everything into it. It's like, it's kind of great. I love it. So, you know, we'll see how this one goes. Maybe this one will go horrible and it'll crush my my spirits again. Because my spirits have been crushed before from bad performances. But it's not even that the performances were bad per se, it's that they felt so bad. Like, I've never felt so good in such a high pressure situation. It's just completely changed my outlook on performing. Yeah, so I'm excited. I feel great. Next audition tomorrow, and then there will be one more after that. And then that's gonna be it for old Cameron for now. Yeah, I just look forward to starting my master's studies. So I really hope that there's some good offers so we can actually just jump into it. And yeah, that's gonna be the next 2 years, just honing it and honing it. And then who knows what's going to happen after that. So basically what I've learned from that, the next time you're performing, there are all these things like, I think somebody suggested like taking some drug that makes nerves go away. I forget what it's called again. But you said like, I don't want you to get addicted to them, but you can try these and they'll take like the shakiness away. No, honestly, the shakiness is what you want. Don't try to get rid of that nervous feeling. That is the best part. And that's like the reason why you do it. Because if you can learn to enjoy it, it's like nothing I've ever felt before. Beta blockers, that's what they're called. So, you know, don't take beta blockers. Don't like eat any food that you think is gonna like help you with nerves. Just sit in that chair when it's time to perform and just sit there for like 3 seconds with your eyes closed and just feel that nervous energy. And just enjoy it and just go in and then just show them what you got. The higher the stakes and the more nervous I get, I feel like it's just going to feel crazier and crazier. Tomorrow in person, it'll be higher stakes. Man, like before I play that first piece, I'm gonna take like 3 or 5 seconds just to like just sit there and just like just like, oh my god, this feels crazy. And then just start playing. Man, yeah, it felt great. So, that's like the best thing I could have hoped for. Did it sound good? I have no idea. Probably not, because I suck. You're about to find out. Because this is a practice log, and I do have stuff to practice. All in all, my points are, like, that whole cliche of, like, the nervousness you're feeling, that's just your excitement to play. I never understood that until this first audition, but it's totally true. And the thing is, it might feel bad, or you might think it feels bad, but it really doesn't. Like, what really feels bad is, like, depressive anxiety, like when you're laying in bed at night staring at the ceiling and you just feel like anxious and you don't know what to do. But when you have a presentation like that coming up, that is like wild excitement, like anxiety, and that, like, if you can channel that and view it like positively, it's just crazy. You know, don't try to suppress it in any way. I think it's a good idea to actually like exacerbate it. That's what I'm gonna try to do probably. I'm gonna try to make myself as nervous as possible. Just overall a really positive experience. I learned a lot about myself and just how I handle nerves and all that, and I'm just really excited to get nervous again because it just it was fun. So, you know, I think that covers everything. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to leave them and all that. God, my feet are cold. I'm not bringing any of my heating stuff though. Like, I'm just not doing that because it doesn't matter now. It so doesn't matter. Like, fine, my hands will be cold. Fine, whatever. That'll just make me more nervous and freaked out. So, you know, cold hands, we're good. Like, I'm not gonna purposely make my hands cold, but whatever happens, happens. I'm sure my hands will be fine regardless. Alright, well, I'm gonna get to practicing now. So, I will see you in the chair. Hey, it's actually the end of the day. I just taught a bunch of lessons today, and I've been practicing throughout the day. I'm just gonna fast forward through all that and just show you what I've been doing and what I've been thinking about. Like, a lot of new stuff, and I've also just been, like, playing all my old pieces really slow, because that's what I'm gonna be playing tomorrow in my audition. So, I'm gonna practice now, and then you'll see. I will see you on the other side. Okay, so I've been refreshing on the fugue of 997. I kind of want to play what I have of that so far, so I'm going to try to make it all the way to the major section. And, you know, I'm going to try to play it in a way that's, like, kind of interesting and fun to listen to, hopefully. A lot of it still needs to get under my fingers. I don't have it under my fingers yet, but I'm just going to play what I have. I've been sort of not looking at it for, like, a few weeks or so, but I'm going to start, like, going hard into it again. And I'd like to have this, like, fully under my fingers in, like, a month or two. We'll see. But yeah, here goes nothing. Check this out. and so on. So, you know, like a lot of that's pretty rough, and I'm trying to be like very expressive when I play it. I'm trying to perform it for you. I'm trying to get myself in that headspace. Yeah, like I hear a lot of people playing this fugue fast, and I really have zero interest in playing it fast because it's so harmonically interesting. Obviously, it's not under my fingers yet. Give it time to improve, but that is what I've been working on, and I've just been really trying to pay attention to the little details in it for when I do have it under my fingers and I can shred it. One thing that I've also been working with, which just is kind of unrelated. So I've been going through and just looking at like the part writing stuff in the theory textbook, and I've been going through like certain sequences. I might have Anonymous back on. Maybe he'll be in the podcast, but he knows a lot about theory, and he's a composer, so I might have him give me some counterpoint lessons, because I'm interested in learning more about it, and especially being able to sort of think about it in real time, because I want to be able to play the stuff. That's like the most interesting, and then I feel in that, like, I see it in the music that I'm working on, which I totally do. So I'm starting really simply right now with just working on a 5/6 ascending sequence. So I'm starting in G major, of course. Like, just working with 3 notes at a time. Like, I could do 4 parts, but I just want to see the triads right now. So starting with, like, GBD. And then moving to the 6th chord by just shifting the 5th up to the 6th. We're now playing the 6th chord in first inversion. This is the 5/6 ascending sequence. So G major, and then to E minor, first inversion. And then from there, 3rd will shift up. And now we're playing A minor. And then F sharp diminished. And first inversion, going to B minor. G major, first inversion. And basically how I'm doing it is I'm going through like until I can't anymore, like just staying on one string. Gotta shift over here. So I actually went all the way through the octave. And then, you know, I'll find a place next time. Maybe I'll go to C here, and then I'm going to go through all the way. And I'm going to do this on every pair of strings that I have. So, and a lot of these are the same. And like, also thinking about like what chord I'm playing and like the inversion and stuff, and just getting used to seeing what those look like on the fretboard. Then maybe I'll switch, I'll start on G major here. So on. And then we're at the octave here. So I went through, and this is like a really simple sequence. There's no chromaticism in it at all. And that's sort of why I'm refreshing on just like the voice leading conventions, because I want to eventually learn this sequence and then more sequences using like 5 of 5s and like different ways to tonicize to the next chord. It's like I'm starting in G now to E minor and then to like E major, like the 5 of 2, and then go into the next chord. And just finding all the places to add in that stuff. So that's just sort of like a little project, just to get comfortable just like moving in these like sequency kind of ways. And everything I've showed you has been like really closed, and I'm just like doing it closed triads. Like you could also spread them out, like do spread triads or something. I haven't done that yet, but that'd be pretty cool. Probably a better way to do this, but this is just the first way I'm finding. And I would find a place to change. Yeah, so I'd want to work that out with all the spread triads, like in every position too, like every combination of strings that can be done. Just because it's something that I can't do, and it's like, why can't I do that? I am a musician, aren't I? Shouldn't I be able to easily go through like any chord progression with like proper voice leading, instead of playing these stupid same old chords where you have no idea what you're playing? Also, like going backwards through it too would be cool. Oh yeah, this is a much better way to do it. Yeah, and I guess if you wanted to do 4-part on all the root position chords, you would probably want to double the bass. then you can just keep that for when you go to the inversion of the next chord. I don't know, stuff to think about. That's fun couch stuff. Like, I've been doing that while also just going through the book and trying to, like, apply all that stuff. I think I'm just gonna make a challenge to myself that if I'm gonna, like, improvise on guitar, no more just, like, random noodling. You know, like the free form improv that I usually do. I think I'm just gonna use all the time I would be doing that and just work on this stuff, and then hopefully it'll kind of seep into my free form improv. And if I'm lucky, I'll be improvising stuff that sounds like intelligent and composed. But you know, we can all dream. If anything, it's just fun. It's like a little puzzle. That's what I'm doing. Alright, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. I will see you in the outro. Hey, well, you know, if you made it this far, be sure to subscribe and leave a like. And hey, want some guitar lessons? I'll teach you all the stuff that I'm doing. Email in the description for that. And of course, if you want some merch, head on down over to Rootin's Delight. Pick yourself up some merch. Yeah. And, you know, comment questions, feel free to leave them and I'll answer them on the couch at some point. Or the chair. I'm probably just gonna keep calling it the chair. Alright, well, I need to practice more, I guess, and like edit and all that. So, I'll see you in the next one.